Have you ever been curious about busking and wanting to get started with all that, but thought that maybe it was a little too complicated? Well, luckily for you, my good friends over at Donner have a pretty simple solution for that. In fact, they got a myriad of solutions for that if you're in the market for it. Hello, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to my Pink Room of Doom. As always, I hope you guys are doing well. And yes, we have another sponsored video by my awesome friends over at Donner. This time we're taking a look at something a little bit different. This is the Donner MT1 portable PA speaker. Now I know you may be thinking to yourself, Jonathan, why are you doing a PA system? You're a guitar channel. Why do you really need a PA? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are a couple of reasons that you can use a PA system, which we'll try to cover in this video. But before we get into it, please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, the like button, all the good YouTube stuff. And if you want to pick up one of these for yourself or really any product from Donner, I do have a link down there in the description. And if you use the code Flamingo at checkout, you'll get 15% off of your order. That is a site-wide code. So if you want to pick up one of these MT1s today or anything else you see in this video, we're going to try to use as many Donner products as we can, because why not? You can use that code site-wide, get that off. That's our gift to you. With that being said, let's talk about this beautiful speaker here some more, shall we? So first and foremost, what do you get in the box? Very, very simple stuff here. So you get the speaker itself. As you can see, it is not very big at all, but do not let the size fool you. This thing is loud, packing 300 watts of power in there. You do get I believe this is an 18-volt charger here to recharge this thing because it is battery powered, which is an awesome plus. And then you get just a simple bag here with one of these awesome Donner guitar cables and a user manual. Very, very simple unboxing little thing there, but let's talk about the speaker some more and what this thing can really do. So I mentioned at the top of the video that this thing would be great for busking. If you don't know what busking is, check out Dovidas's channel. He does a great job of busking. He does it really well. He's a great musician too. But busking is essentially like when you go out into like a park or a city and you see somebody there with a hat on the ground or the guitar case open and people are giving them money and stuff. That's busking. You're just playing outside, you know, maybe getting some tips, all that kind of stuff. And again, a lot of people like to have these big convoluted setups with their pedal boards and, you know, these big speakers, and like some people go well over the top with it. But if you're looking for something like, you know, playing an acoustic guitar, like an electric acoustic guitar and just singing, and you kind of want to project the sound a little bit more, this right here will get the job done. Again, it's 300 watts of power, so it's very, very loud. Another cool thing about it is that it's rechargeable, so you don't have to have this thing plugged into the wall to turn it on. You hold down the power button and it's good to go. It kind of works like maybe like an acoustic amplifier. A lot of them have two inputs on it, but you know, this one's got more to it, I think. So it's got built-in Bluetooth, so you can use backing tracks, all that kind of stuff. You have your two inputs here. They're both mic inputs. The second one does say guitar, so you can plug your guitar into it as well. The first mic input has built-in phantom power, so you can practically use any microphone on the planet with this PA system. Both of these inputs are both XLR and line-in supported, so you can just plug a guitar cable straight into it, or an XLR cable, maybe into the guitar one if you're using like a multi-effects unit with this. You have options, which is always nice. You have a couple of different ports up here as well. You have some USB-C port here. This is OTG, which I'll probably go into the manual here in a second and reference that and see what that means. You have a live port, an aux port, a USB port, and a headphone port right here, all conveniently located at the top in case you need to use any of them. You do have an out here, and it does say balance, so it's a balanced out. Your master volume is right here in this little gray box. That's where you charge the unit. This power button obviously is where you turn it on. You would hold it down to turn it on. I was confused at first because I pressed it, nothing happened, I held it down. That's what you gotta do, it's about 2 seconds. You have a system reset button, a mute button, a Bluetooth reset button, feedback suppression if you do both of these buttons at the same time, I believe, so that'll help cut back on, you know, feedback, I would hope anyway. But these buttons are also like play, pause, forward, and reverse, I'm assuming for your Bluetooth. I'm assuming that's loop, to loop your music in case you have a loop going, or something like that, looping music. Over here are your controls for each of these individual inputs. So the bottom one is mic 1. So you have, and they're both pretty much the same, by the way. The top is mic 2 or your guitar. You have an individual volume knob here. You have the 3-band EQ for each channel, which is cool. And then you have these little knobs over here that control the amount of effect that are in there. That's right, there are built-in effects here. Now it's just reverb, echo, and then reverb and echo combined, which is controlled by this knob right here. So you would turn it, select which one you'd like, and then you can turn on how much of each you want in each channel. So if you want it on the guitar, turn on the guitar. If not, whatever. And then you have a nice little display right here that'll show you which knob you're turning. So as you turn, say, the master volume, it'll come up and tell you, hey, here's what the master volume's at. And then, oh, you're turning this one, so now let's change it on there. That's basically how that works. Then you have some buttons down here. You have a menu button, and then you're up, down to select through the menu. And then this knob right here is a separate volume knob for your live HP headphone and line aux thing. So you have separate volumes for practically everything, which is really cool. Then you have a music volume. I know we just keep going on with all the knobs. Music volume, and then a 2-band EQ, bass and treble for your music. Whew, wowie, wow. That's a lot. There are a lot of knobs up here. They're pretty self-explanatory, but I feel like I should just go through all of them. So with that being said, I know you want to hear what this thing sounds like. We'll do a couple tests with it. We'll plug in, you know, an acoustic guitar, electric guitar, all that stuff, and, you know, vocals. I'm not going to sing, I promise, but we'll see what this thing can do. All right, so let's go and get some sounds out of the Donner MT1. Now, first and foremost, I did not lie at the beginning when I said that we're going to be using a lot of Donner products here. The MT1, obviously. We even got a Donner cable here going into this absolutely stunning Donner Hush 1. Got a video on this if you want to check that out. Really cool acoustic, like, electric thing. Really, really nice for travel, but I digress. So I've got the amp or the PA system on. I've got it plugged into the second input here just via, again, a Donner guitar cable. No effects. EQ is leveled out on both the guitar and on here, and I've got the volume control right here on the guitar. So here are the sounds out of the MT1 captured by my Comica shotgun mic. That actually might be really loud. So, I mean, it sounds, again, like a straight up acoustic amplifier, which I guess is a good thing, considering that you would probably plug an electric acoustic into it, right? But sounds really nice. And then obviously if you mess with the EQ on it, it's like you did if you boosted the mids, for example. You see it gets much, much brighter. So, I mean, it's very versatile. And then on top of that, obviously, if you have something like this, you have even more EQ control via the knobs on the guitar, right? If you want to learn more about that, again, video on the Hush 1 there. Let's add some of the effect in here, which is right here. So let's see if we can get it. Okay, so here's the reverb. I'm going to go ahead and just put a rather excessive amount in there just so you can hear it, but this is about halfway up on the reverb. So maybe you heard that. I'm hoping you did. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and check out the, there we go, the reverb and echo. So this is going to put a delay on it and the reverb. Again, this effect seems to be really, really forward, I guess. There's a lot of it, even if you dial it back a little bit. So be very, very careful with this one. But again, this is just where it was before. That's actually not as bad as I remember when I was initially testing this out. So maybe I just had it up excessively before. But you see it adds like a delay effect in there on top of the reverb. So that's cool. And then obviously if you go all the way over here and you want just that echo effect, there you go. So that's cool. But I kind of like the reverb on it a lot. Because if you just put it real subtle, I mean... Yeah, it sounds really good with a guitar plugged in, or at least an acoustic guitar. But what if you were to put like a multi-effects unit through this thing with an electric guitar? Say something like the Donner Arena 2000, which I also have a video on conveniently enough. Now, what guitar could I use for this? What electric guitar? Oh, how about my good old faithful trusty Donner DST 550, one of the best guitars that Donner makes. Again, video on this on the channel if you want to check it out. Now that we got all that hooked up, just real quick, I am XLRing out into the Donner MT1, so you can do either line in or XLR, but I think the XLR sounds a little bit better. So this is just what it sounds like. Again, the EQ on here is at noon. We have no reverb in here. If you hear any reverb, it's from my effect on the Arena 2000. So as of right now, sounds a little dark, sounds a little, not gonna say muddy, but it doesn't sound the greatest. That could be because the effect that I have in the Arena 2000, the Arena 2000 sounds really good. If you watch the video where I do the full demo on it, do it properly, I guess, you can see that it's got some good sounds on it. If you tweak the EQ on here, or you either go in and tweak the EQ on the Arena 2000 to suit this, it sounds really good, in my opinion. So like, we'll dial back some of the bass, dial in more of the mid and treble, and it'll take away some of that blanket over the speaker effect. So see, sounds much better, and all I did was tweak the EQ on the amp itself. Now again, that's something that you gotta mess around with on both to get it, you know, to fit this. And that kind of goes with like any guitar, amp, pedal. You just have to tweak around with it. But you can see that it does work just fine. Sounds great, and given some time with it, you could absolutely take an electric guitar out and busk with this thing. I should also tell you too that you would want to use a multi-effects unit, much like the Donner Arena 2000, because this is a PA. It's not the same as a guitar cabinet. So if you have something that does not have a cab emulation, like for example, I have a patch here loaded up on the Donner Arena 2000 that does not have a cab emulation going, this is what it sounds like. It actually doesn't sound terrible, but add in the cab emulation. This is like a Fender, so it's probably not going to sound like the greatest, but you'll hear the big difference in sound. That actually doesn't sound that bad. But yeah, so you want to make sure that you have a cab emulation running if you're using a multi-effects unit through this thing. All right, so now we're going to use this with a microphone. So we're going to see what this thing sounds like through, you know, a microphone like that. So this is just like a whatever microphone that I had lying around. And we're just going to see what it sounds like when I start talking into it. So the mic is on. I'm going to turn this up. There we go. So I don't know how it's coming across here, but I do know that in the room, sounds pretty good. And like I said before, you have the option to do the EQ. So if I really wanted to like darken up the sound, I could take away all the mid and all of the highs. Or if I really wanted to brighten up the sound, dial back all of the bass and bring in all the mids and trebles. So you do have options there, which I think, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that just so it's not so dark. But there we go. So there's that. If we were to bring in some effect, So let's say we have some reverb. Get spatial with us, some reverb there. Putting on my DJ voice, probably shouldn't do that. But anyway, here is the reverb and echo for that extra bit of just getting people hyped. Let's get ready to rumble, that whole thing, you know. And then just the echo. Echo. So we'll dial that back. But you can see again that the voice, it does got a lot of effects built into it. This is with the master volume about halfway up, and then the actual volume on the mic channel probably about a little less than 3/4 of the way up. So you still got a lot of juice to give this thing whenever you want to, you know, really get your voice heard. So just some final thoughts on the Donner MT1. Just really quickly, all thoughts and opinions are mine. Just because a video is sponsored does not mean that I'm being paid to say nice things. If I'm saying nice things about it, it's because they're nice. If I'm not, it's because they're not. But with that out of the way, the Donner MT1 is a nice thing. I got a lot of nice things to say about it. It's really loud. It gets the job done, especially if you want to go out and busk. And it just is, it's really well made. It's really affordable. And it comes from a name that you can trust. I think at this point I've proven with all the Donner videos that I've done is that for the most part, you can trust Donner when it comes to quality products. I am really a big fan of all the Donner products. Again, if you want to get any of these products that you saw in this video today for 15% off and you want to help support the channel, check the link down there, use the code Flamingo at checkout. And also subscribe to the channel, that helps too, and that's free. But yeah, the MT1, it's great. If you want a PA system kicking around or a couple of these kicking around and you want to use them as a traditional PA system, this will more than get the job done. If you own a small venue, club, whatever, these are really, really nice. Again, they're built very well. You got the handle on the front and they are nice and heavy, but they're not like overly heavy. I think that they're great options. They really are. And as you saw with the Hush one here with the electric acoustic, sounds great with an electric guitar and a multi-effects pedal. Sounds great. So does it replace a traditional amplifier? Not at all, no. You need a real amp. But again, for what you would use this for, it's absolutely 110% an option to consider. So with that being said, thank you guys very much for checking out this video. Thank you, Donner, for sponsoring the video with the MT1. I greatly appreciate it. And again, links are in the description. Use the code Flamingo at checkout for 15% off, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.